What's up with you guys on this Wednesday? I have just accomplished going live every day for 3 days in a row. So who knows how long I'll actually be here this morning. Technology is always a question as to whether it's going to work right every day. I have signed into ChatGPT once today, and I'm actually trying to catch up on all of my work on my Facebook groups and uh, of course, checking out all the notifications. And I got to tell you, it's hilarious because it seems like everything is running behind today. And here it is Wednesday. Before I go any further, though, I wanted to share something with you that ever since I started, managing, actually contributing to online communities way back in the 90s, we had themes for each day when we would get up and when we would sign in, when we would get up. Oh, geez. You can tell I need another cup of coffee this morning. So anyhow, the theme for Wednesday, Wake Up Wednesday, Wine Wednesday, that was my favorite, and What's Up Wednesday with everybody. You had a theme for each day. And I got to tell you, for me, coffee is a thing. And I was told from the first day that I drank coffee, you'll never stop once you start. So be very careful. You've got to be intentional. But at the time when I drank my first cup of coffee, I was working in admissions of a hospital in Southern California and going to school out there. And back in those days, we used analog telephones, and we actually had what's called a switchboard, where we would have to take calls, route calls through a switchboard that has several different lines to it to get to those extensions. Boy, have we come a long way. Anyhow, I'm streaming with one of my favorite live streaming tools today. I love it. The corgis have spoken. I'm sorry you can hear that. They should have been put in their castles. Yes, because you need to be quiet when mommy's doing this. So, we've heard from the corgis, and hopefully we can keep it quiet for the rest of the stream. Anyway, I gotta tell you, kids, stop that. It seems like, whenever you go live, be sure you're in a quiet place where you don't have disturbances, because it is going to come across your feed every single time when you don't want it to. But I'm just going to keep rolling here. I am streaming live to my profile this morning and to my company Facebook page, my Balloon Talk Live page, which is affiliated with my Balloon Talk group, where all my ballooning friends, like about 1,200 of my friends, when you see my friend count, about 1,200 of them are affiliated with ballooning in some way. And many of them I have known since I got online. No kidding. And so I was actually asked to take over that group back in 2014, because it was a public group at that time, and there was bots, believe it or not. I mean, people can do all kinds of things with computers. They could do it back then, but it's much easier to do it today. And to my Artsy Pixels page, which is all about digital art, and to my ballooning news page, which I had actually that .com I registered way back when I was providing services to the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta and helping them get online. And then, of course, my New Mexico Internet Entrepreneurs page that I had really from a meetup group I had been in, and I wanted to keep in touch with all of the entrepreneurs in New Mexico who were using the internet really to make most of their living. And the other place I'm streaming live to today is my YouTube channel at Barb.USA. So that is a channel I actually created way back when, and to do beta testing for YouTube. And I don't even think I've reached 100 subscribers on that channel yet, because I opened it to just use as an archive and to run all of the tests that they needed to have done. So in other words, I've been a beta tester for, you know, since the 80s when PCs came out. It's like, oh, let me try this, something new. And I think that the hardest thing for me to do is discipline myself to be on time to an event every day of the week or any time. It's like last minute Barb. I would just show up right before I had to speak, right before the event began, and so forth. So I actually decided this month, because of the things that were going on in my life, I wanted folks, my friends and followers, to know I'm still here. But the best thing for me to do would be to just jump on live, because my friends are all over the world. And, I understand on Facebook it only keeps our live there for a short period of time, but it lets them know within 30 days or so that I have been there. And of course, I exercise other practices to make sure it's there long after it's no longer showing up live on that particular platform. But I am determined not to have technology control my life, but to actually use it, and every day, and hopefully it will add to my longevity, let's hope, and keep my mental awareness top shape. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like talking to myself because I cannot see you. There are let's see. Oh, my friend Patricia Murray has stopped by, and with this application I'm using, I can see it. She stopped by my YouTube channel. That little red mark with the red box with the arrow tells me that it's actually from YouTube. She's watching from there this morning. I oftentimes jump into her lives that she does. She's been very disciplined. I mean, way back when. I've been watching her since, wow, 2014, 15, something like that. So we're all, those are folks, the OGers, who are, we all try to stick together because and stay in the game. It's been so much fun. And she even got, she's in my ballooning group. She's very much interested in that. And like me, Patricia came up in the traditional journalism space, and then we've gone all digital, as you know, and it's crazy trying to keep things together. But she puts together a newsletter for her community and covers that every day and tries to keep her community connected. So most of our online communities that we're involved in, we actually started as a result of wanting to keep our geographic communities, the ones that we lived in, keep them connected and help them stay connected all the time. When I was a young woman doing this, I would meet because I was working from home, I was working with technology from home, I would meet other community members in my local community down at the coffee shop in my grocery store before starting our day, talk about what we're up to help each other stay motivated and, encourage each other along. So I gotta tell you, when we were able to go audio, and then it was really great. It was like you could hear each other's voices all the time. And I mean, back then we had telephones that had analog telephones that had party lines, believe it or not. That's how you would connect multiple locations together and talk to each other. And here we are today with all this wonderful technology, but so rarely do any of us take advantage of it. Uh, I mean, just the, well, I don't know if I really am average, but I consider, if I'm just a real, just a person, um, in the time as an individual taking advantage of it. I didn't when I initially connected online. It wasn't about can I make money online, buy my stuff. No way at all. It was just connecting with each other for encouragement, for motivation. Just if you meet positive people every day, you tend to smile a lot. And that was something that when I was growing up, I rarely did. In fact, my parents bought me, and you can Google this, but it was called a pouty bear. And I actually had that as an adult. I remember that for umpteen years. Who knows? It may still be in my attic. But my parents gave me that, telling me you've got to learn to smile. If you look at life positively, more positive things will happen. And so that was one of the reasons I decided, I am going to do this today because I was so upset with what happened with technology last year, um, that I was ready to just unplug everything, go away, and in my corner of life, and let things roll. But I think it's important for all of us that first thing in our morning before we head out to work, I mean, look how that's changed too. So many more folks around the world are able to actually work from their homes. And that was, that's due to the technology, us being able to stay connected with one another. It's just amazing how far we've come over all this time I've been around. And I, of course, am looking so great today because this is me generated, from my, uh, with the help of ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. Those are AI applications. And taking the photos of me from the time I was a baby to, um, now, and mixing it all together and say, how would I look when I'm all cleaned up and ready to go for the day? And I was very surprised that it actually generated me with a smile. And so this has become the favorite image of me. And the first thing I did in working with ChatGPT this morning is I thought, well, I want to change my clothes for my profile today. And then I thought, oh, I'm in a hurry. I don't have that much time, so I'll just change my sweater. And so that's the first application I have to show you here. And with way I am streaming here now, I will be able to add that, but some things are going to happen as I do that, and I need to change this overlay that's around my audio. And so I will do that now. Let's see if we can keep things really. I don't want to cut off too much. I'm going to just show this one. There we go. So you can see I'm inside of just a plain black rectangle border. Now let me check by adding my screen, and that's the application is helping me do that. And I have selected to include the audio. You can have an option to just share your pictures, your videos, or you can share the audio with them as well. One word of caution: if you're just getting into this, make sure that what you're sharing you own the rights to, or have, that you have the permissions to be able to share the content, because that'll get you nailed on on various places you stream to every single time if you don't. And the worst one is music sounds. They've got all kinds of stuff to be able to depict them when you're streaming, and they will cut you off. So first thing I'm going to show you is of course my work in ChatGPT, and I will have to. This is my very first thing that I did today, and I want to just make sure that you all are seeing it as I am here. I think I'm okay on the screen with you right now because you can see the same image, and that looks good. So that's me back in the studio. But let me go over to my Facebook group now and see that it's actually streaming to, yes, on Facebook. So we're good to go there. And we'll concentrate on what's happening with ChatGPT this morning. As you can see, this is the very first thing I did. My brain has not really kicked in gear this morning like I'd like it to, but I'm going back and forth. I'll show you. And I uploaded, and that's what this plus sign is here at the message box, where I'm going to give the recommendations to ChatGPT. And with that, then you open up your hard drive and you bring a picture from it in there, and you ask it to do things with it. And so this is the picture I uploaded. I will get to see that. And as you can see, I can't help. The application ChatGPT does not need to have, please, but it's just who I am, and you got to have good manners. And so it's actually picked that up about me, and it's very interesting in the results of what happens each time. Now in this one, it generated me again. It kept my eyes blue like it should. My trademark of wearing my earrings every day, and keep it going. But now I just asked it to change my sweater to a wine color. That's simple, and it popped right up. So it's so used to me coming in every day. I know it's like, okay, what's next? I guess I normally have tons of commentary, and when I come in to say good morning, and get some work done. And now I'm going to check. If you can see over here on the left hand side, you can see all kinds of things that I've done. And the live streaming issue I think we covered that yesterday, is like when to do these lives. I had asked it very quickly to use one of the prompt assistants that I have to actually tell me when the best time was to live streaming, and I'm to live stream with you. And as you can see, it whipped that all out, plus gave me the FAQs to ask regarding that. And my memory's kicking in now. I remember we did cover a lot of this yesterday. And get down to the FAQs. Those become very important for in my opinion, I will say, they become very important for any application you're using, even in your Facebook communities, in other communities on other platforms. People ask the same thing over and over again. Gather those facts up and publish them as a post in there, or do a live stream specifically on the facts that are provided. So now I'm going to stop sharing this, and we will go to my Facebook page in just a moment. Want to make sure that everything is set for my memories today, because that is, and you'll have to watch because I have my notifications turned on. They're going to flip up beside me when I share this, so hang on just a second, and I will share that do that screen share. Again, I'm including the audio with my screen share, and you can see that now. One of the first things I do every day, because I know that Facebook has been so good at accumulating the memories, is to check in with my memories. And today I blew it because I'm just now checking into them today. And as you can see, on this time last year, we're worried about dust storms warnings in this area here in central New Mexico. And so I shared the alerts from that and brought, you can tell I was kind of messed up about that last year on this day, can't you? And I actually I said, this confirms my conclusion that March 18th, 2025 is a day in hell for my life story. Oh, that's right. I have diminished lung capacity, and when the air is bad, it really, it's hard for me to breathe. And I typically have to just jump back in bed and lay down for a while before I can get up. So this is what was happening here. And this is the fella that from KOAT that I have followed for a long time. Does pretty good most of the time. Oh, I love that Facebook is reminding us about the verified badges. I think that they're a bunch of crap. Personally, because I've heard people, we thought we were getting extra with the verify badge, and instead what happens is all kinds of bad things come down. I don't want to go into that this morning. So this was making national news from the NASA astronauts 17-hour journey to splash down off the Florida coast. So that was last year at this time. Yeah. Okay. And then this was kind of interesting. I thought that, and I shared this with just my friends. This was before I decided to actually opt in for the digital creator professional personal profile. And I said it just came up on my personal news feed. I have no clue if I follow the page, but I do know I'm in groups where spy comes up as a topic quite often. So you see from this writing stance, it's what your interests are. Everything I've done is in keywords. And why? Because that's how computers pick it up. Whatever you're talking about, it views it as a key word, whatever keeps repeating over and over again. So you kind of want to be careful that you don't repeat the same thing all the time, or it's going to pick up something on it. I said, there's nothing like a reminder of how old I am when I see this image. And notice the Kodak film roll. And I was wondering why the CIA museum is not open to the public. And I said, I'm a fan of the International Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. And I was reminded of when I sent them some stuff after my after Pops passed away. It didn't have anything to do with my life, but it sure did with his. And I felt like, from a history standpoint, it deserved to be accounted for. And so that was, they actually held Kodak film in there. And I'm still, I love it. It was on this day last year, I was having trouble with my brain kicking into gear. I'm on my third cup of coffee. And today, it's my third cup of coffee again. Let's see what else is there. And so and I have not, here's another reminder. This is back in 2024. Now you notice there wasn't a cover page for me from 2025. So last year on this day, I didn't change my cover. And right now I still have my St. Patrick's Day cover on there. So we'll talk about that for a minute. Of course, this is ballooning. Love that. So this was 2 years ago. This is a reminder of where we were with the AI. I could take the ChatGPT at that time, I think was still, this was Dolly 3 that we used, and that was all within the ChatGPT application. And so I was able to have it send me reminders of what it's like on an ascension morning in Albuquerque. So that's what I created with AI last year. That's a good thing. It wasn't challenging. Then this from 2024, I was still using application, the Snapchat application would, and actually delivered, the different images of you, and what it, you were able to choose from what it described. And so, yeah, lots of, this is from the 18th. Yeah, this is the day after. And a reminder from yesterday, created with ChatGPT, back to 2020, getting back. This is another thing I do. I create my, I have an album on my profile. This is my quote collection that I had set up. And just sharing, when I shared that from my phone, you have a choice of sharing it to an album on your profile or just directly to your page. And I decided, well, I'm going to try that to see if that, helps me as a reminder. I can take this and create a new image. And we'll just copy that today, and I'll show you. We'll go back into ChatGPT. I'll keep that on my page if we can't. But I have lots of quotes here. That was what we were encouraged to do, just to let people know that we were there. Oh, this is a good one. I'll tell you the story about this. So this was on this day in 2016. And I was doing a selfie challenge. Instead of going live, it was all about, because it was day 18 of Colon Cancer Awareness Month. This too, March, is always Colon Cancer Awareness Month. And I am a colon cancer survivor. And so at that time, I was set up in my studio in Central Oregon, and this is back in the corner. I used a Soji screen to put different backdrops. That backdrop that you see there is actually, I purchased a, I call it a throw, but it's like a cover you can get at Costco it had, it's, how to describe that? It's like a velour cover, and it's got stuffing in it, so that's a sound barrier. That means my sound's not going to carry from my studio area. This make a makeshift studio, if you will. And yeah, you can see that I was actually at my desktop, and I took this screenshot while I was streaming live. And you can, because you can also see my laptop here on the left. Now, if I were, so this is how I looked real time back in 2016. I had, about 5 years into my cancer, and recovering from that and getting my body and mind together again. But these props, you call them, I have in my warehouse in Central Oregon. I may still have like 10 of them left in different, in their original packaging, but of Yoda. And Pops had gotten me this from, I think, the dollar store, this little monkey to be Yoda's best friend. And so they sat behind me. And when I was live streaming back then, that's pretty much what I looked like when I showed up in Blab and on well, in 2016, it was definitely Blab, early days of some of the other tools that we were testing. And the thing is, I can't put this in, like say I want ChatGPT to say, hey, create this scene of me with this backdrop for me to share now. And it will reject it because this character, Yoda's character, is actually a registered with the government, is one that that's proprietary. So um, in it, I won't get too techie with you on that, but um, in the early days of AI, it was copying anything. And I'm still, like public officials, it's blowing me away how they can be used in AI. But both Facebook and the most of the credible AI tools have put in uh, stops for catching those kind of things, and they won't allow you to continue doing it because I said, and this is my cousin who, when she said she loved my picture, she is also a cancer survivor. There's so many of my friends, family, and I, if you are one of my followers and you've had cancer too, life is much different for us. Now, here is a public speaker I knew way back from the 1970s, Wayne Dyer, if you remember that. But I would typically at least include a quote every day. And this one is this cover that I use was back when I took a trip to the ocean. That is in from the shore. That's your Pacific Ocean from a trip I took with Pop's girlfriend out there one time. Yeah. So, okay, so that's pretty, I have tons of quotes I could draw from. Now, this is something that those of you who are fellow blabbers and back in the Google days, you see this, they've locked it down, all of our memories down here. And so I can change that, but you see that link there? That was a shortener from Twitter. This was a post that was originally shared from Twitter. That was funny. So there's not a lot of activity in my memories today. And then you see you do have options. You can hide them. You can hide people. You can hide the dates of them. But you can repurpose your content, because we can take those, like the quotes, and I will show you. I have done that. I think I've got it memorized, the quote. We'll see what happens here. I took one, but Henry David Thoreau's been gone a long time, so let's try that one. We'll take it into ChatGPT and generate a new quote. And here I shared that before. Yeah. Okay, so we will stop sharing that. And if you give me a second, we'll go into ChatGPT and start a new share, because I have to add that screen. And it's right here. Once again, I tell you that we have the option to share audio. I will do that even though there's no one talking. You may have noticed right here, before I go to a new project, here's where you use voice. And you can actually summon ChatGPT. So I learned something very important yesterday. So I'm going to, and over here on the left is, my prior chats, but I'm going to start a new chat. And obviously you can come over here and click on it, or you can take the Control-Shift key plus O will bring up a new chat. So we're going to do that now. And so now you can see, and I do have this subscription, the AIPRM, which helps me, with initial prompts and generating thoughts for new prompts, and getting some things getting work done quicker. So, and I do have, I can set my writing style again. We remembered that. Look at all the options that I have. And so I can go, if you are instructor courses, you have that one. Journalistic standpoint, I did run some tests, they do give different results, but they also take in your personality. If you've been using ChatGPT for any length of time and it's figured out about you, the repetitive things that you write, it will consider that as well. And that's my standard one. Now, let's see what happens if I notice that when I use my voice, use the voice previously, that I could not create images with it at that time. So we'll use this for a second, and let's see. Good morning. I'm showing my friends around ChatGPT today, and I was wondering if you could give me some tips on the best things that I can share with them when they're first getting started.
Good morning. That sounds like fun. One thing to share is they can ask about anything, creative ideas, learning something new, or even help planning. Show them how they can refine their requests, starting broad, then getting specific if needed. Also highlight that it's okay to say exactly what tone or format they want, casual or formal, lists or paragraphs. Finally, encourage them to explore, whether that's solving a problem or just having a fun conversation.
Great. I miss chatting with you first thing in the morning. I've been kind of behind lately. What's been up with you? Have there been any changes to ChatGPT?
I'm always here whenever you pop in, so no worries on timing. As for changes, there's always a bit of evolution. Newer versions get better at being conversational, more expressive, and we've gotten a bit snappier too. But the core, still the same helper you've had along for the ride. So just like before, we can tackle anything you're up to next.
Well, what do you think about all this news about Claude and its popularity taking over from you? Like people are saying, well, I'm going to give up on ChatGPT and just use Claude.
I think it's good when people have options. Different tools click with different folks, and it's all about what works best for their style or needs. For me, I'm always here to collaborate with you, whether we're brainstorming ballooning projects or tweaking digital art. It's not a competition, just more ways for people to connect and create.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, yesterday, I tried to get you to generate an image for me in the voice mode when you were talking to me, but you could give me a prompt, but you couldn't give me the image. I am wondering if that still holds true today.
Yes, that's still the case today. When we're in voice mode, I can describe a prompt or guide you on what to create, but I can't directly generate and show an image on the spot. If you want an image, you can always switch to text mode, and then I can generate it right there.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. I'm going to turn off voice mode now. You have a great rest of your day.
You're very welcome. It was great chatting, and I hope you and your friends have fun exploring. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk again soon.
There you have it. And now we'll let it end first. Barb's too fast. And so this is in the same one we had this quote. And I will say generate, I'm going to do wide, well, let's do square format. You can do wide format or square. It's square will result in a 1024 by 1024 pixel image, and or you can have wide format, and you're still going to have to do some editing if you want to, bring it up to the 1920 by 1080. You're doing a standard video and so forth. But square format, easy to remember, and I will do it. This is, and I even do, this is going to be a simple one. I put colorful digital art image. And I will, one thing you don't want to do is hit enter. You have to do shift enter until, because once you hit enter, you initiate the command. So let's see. This is a surprise. This is my Grammarly, which I've had for years. I'll just change it there. But they actually recommend that you turn that off when you're working within uh, this application. I rarely do, however, I don't have a real issue with it. So let's see what happens. Now, back in the day, a couple years ago, we couldn't share this much text and have it come out right. And now, understand, whatever comes here is a result of what it's gathered, about my personality. So each account, each person will have something different. And that's where it becomes, they say, well, you can't copyright these images. And we're leaving things to the attorneys to work out. But now, at this level, look at this. So, to affect the quality of the day, that is the highest of arts. And with Henry David Thoreau, it was spelled properly. And look what it added. I think that's pretty good, don't you? I'll share that on my profile a little bit later this morning. I want to let you know, if you're watching this at any time, that you can join me in my daily challenges, live streaming challenges. And I sure hope, yes, it did work right. Here in the studio. I have that information. Whoops. 1 second. I have that information with my live stream, so you know that you can do that. You can join me in the Barbie Live behind the scenes group here on Facebook and get the link to my studio to actually join me here in the studio and chat while I'm doing this. Ask me to actually generate something for you. If you're not using the application, I'd be happy to help you in using it. In fact, I have other applications, AI applications we can use. But this is how typically my early morning goes, because I need something, I need media to share in each of the communities that I am involved in. If I want my presence known. Now, as an admin, I'm pretty much obligated, if I'm doing my job, to do that. But as a member of a group, you always need to look at the group rules and for guidance before you post anything. But I will just tell you that typically in all of the communities that you join, if you add an image to your text that you post in those communities, it will be more visible overall. So if your mission is to meet new folks and make sure that more folks are aware of you, you for sure want to include an image. What AI has done, in my humble opinion, of course, and you will see that, you'll hear me saying it a lot because I've been online so long, but from day one, we started using acronyms, and in my humble opinion is IMHO. So it's typically the first letter of what the phrase is you're saying and so forth. So in my opinion, though, you do need to include an image, and in my opinion, this is one of the things when AI opened up for us to start using, I thought, well, what's great about this is nobody's image is going to be exactly the same. And it brings, you do not have to be an artist to be able to generate these. Now, it helps because I can get really complex with my prompts. For instance, I was always a fan of Thomas Kincaid's work. Well, at the very beginning of using AI, we could put in the style of Thomas Kincaid and no problem. But Thomas Kincaid actually protected his name as well. And what you need to do is figure out, and I have done that, of course, but you can do your research. It, what was his style, and those words you can type out, and I mean you can enter into the command in creating your prompt, so it makes it very easy for you. But I thought, well, anybody could do this. And I even, I had a lot of friends with different handicaps in life, and some of them have to write with their teeth, believe it or not, have to communicate with their teeth and a pencil in their mouth. My uncle, for instance, was one of those. And but you never know what tools a person has to work with. And the fact that I mean, when audio came along within in here on ChatGPT, I was just elated, because I thought more and more people can, communicate. There's no problem with that. The audio can also help you produce prompts faster. So I really appreciated when that came along. But as you can see, how easy it is, just from that quote has been around forever. And so this time, this is how the session interpreted it. I can change that. I can change type styles if I know those type styles, if that's where your education is. Because, I actually back in the day worked for a printing company, and those of you who have been in printing any length of time know about the Heidelberg Press, and I had the finest work in printing, and you take that, what we have today, and you're able to do this in just seconds before our eyes. I mean, it didn't even take a minute to generate this. So now people are saying, oh, all of that, I hate that AI slop. It's get rid of it. Well, people have feared technology from the time I got a computer and was able to communicate even through analog lines. It was like, what's going on here? My computer's talking back to me. Back in those days, it was in text. And then we had modulated voices. And then, we finally had video. And that's where we are today. And I'm telling you, don't be afraid of the technological changes. Educate yourself about them. Learn how to do good with them, and communicate with the representatives in your countries to make sure that it's always done in a safe way. So that's how far out there I can get this morning. And I see that there's been a couple of you stop by. There have been other comments, and I see that my friend Patricia she's actually learned about me using voice today. We can certainly do that with your peeps. Patricia, you just let me know. And thank you so much for stopping by, being here to support me. I am just coming up on the hour today, and I'm going to stop blabbing away, and I'm going to end up, getting ready for the rest of my adventure on this particular one, because I know my husband has a trip coming up tomorrow, and I want to make sure he has everything ready for to take with him, and he leaves me in good hands with my corgis. So thank you all for stopping by. I appreciate that. And remember, if you want to join me in I have one Facebook group where I'm sharing the links to the studio, where you can actually join me in here. You can do that. Or you can just follow along each day, but I'm determined I'm going to make it for at least 21 days. So stick with me if you can. Have an amazing day, people. I'll be back on Facebook soon.